Aloha guys, welcome to my homestead. Today I am wanting to show you a little bit about comfrey. This is a forgotten plant often when people are getting into growing food. It's a great plant to include in your food forest as one of the understory layers, the shrub ground cover layer of your food forest. And today I'm going to show you ways to propagate this plant. We're located here in Hawaii, but these methods can be done anywhere. And I just want people in Hawaii to know the benefits of this plant because it doesn't really get grown that often. Comfrey is a great biodynamic accumulator. It mines minerals from deep down in the soil and brings them up so that they're available with the other plants around us. These leaves break down super quick. They're filled with nutrients and they can help spike the breakdown process of a compost pile. The leaves can also be used as a medicine. There's so many uses of comfrey. It keeps the weeds away. Bees love the flowers. It's an awesome plant to include into your food forest. So today we're gonna propagate this thing. This one plant here can probably give me 30 to 50 other plants. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna propagate this guy, and I'm also gonna give you a method for super easy propagation in the future. Something that will require pretty much no work on your part. That way you could get comfrey filling in the understory of your food forest, keeping the weeds at bay and making your life a heck of a lot easier. So come along, let's figure out together how to propagate comfrey and include this amazing plant in our garden. So I'm only gonna need 2 tools for this job. I got one of these little sickles here. This is an awesome tool for the garden out here in Hawaii especially. I am using it all the time, cutting back plants. And I got this little, I call it a hori-hori, sort of a little garden shovel. And we're gonna propagate this plant with just these 2 tools right here. We're gonna expose the base layer of our comfrey. We're gonna take our little sickle tool and we're just gonna cut off all of the leaves. So now we have this awesome resource of leaves from our comfrey. We can do so much with this stuff. We can add it to our compost pile and get it to like super activate like really fast, or we can just chop and drop. What's chop and drop? Well, it's a technique popularized in permaculture. We chop the plant and we drop it. So today, for our purposes, we're gonna just chop and drop these comfrey leaves, and I'm just gonna show you how easy chop and dropping really is. This comfrey was already planted right here underneath a mountain apple tree. And I haven't moved more than an inch from the spot where I cut these leaves from. And all we're gonna do is just sprinkle these leaves around the base of this mountain apple tree. Boom. That's chop and drop, guys, right there. So look how well that comfrey was actually able to keep the weeds away around this plant. A lot of bare soil here around the perimeter of this comfrey plant, whereas we have this super thick perennial peanut that just takes over everything else. But here, the comfrey plant was able to keep it at bay, showing its capacity for great weed control. All right, so now we're gonna take our little shovel and we're gonna just dig this plant out of the ground. You can use a real shovel too. It may be actually easier than this, but just dig around the plant, all around the perimeter. You're not gonna get it all. So now we have our little ball of plants that we can propagate from. And you could use a knife or this tool here. You'll see that there's a plant, pretty much each one. Here's a plant right here. Another one. Easy to separate by hand. You can see the potential of propagation off of just this one plant here, you know, and you can break it down as much as you want. Just separate them out by hand or with a knife. If you're gonna use a knife, you can just kind of cut into the roots. This is breaking apart so easy though. Well, let's say I want to break into here. Just don't be afraid to cut. Just cut it open, see? That's okay. I'm gonna separate these guys. See? That's okay too. However you want to do it. Comfrey is a super resilient plant. It will not shy away from being cut. It'll have no problem growing back. So we're going to continue to divide this plant, and then we'll show you how we get it into the ground, which is almost just as easy. All right guys, we're going to take this little comfrey cutting and plant it in the soil right here. You could use your garden fork to make a little hole. If it's soft enough, go ahead and just do it by hand. You're gonna stick your cutting in the ground, put the soil around it, and voila, you have yourselves a comfrey start ready to go. It'll root right up. All right, I really want to show you this alternative technique to make it easier for you in the future. If you already just have cuttings, you may want to think about just starting off this way. But get a pot with some soil, good potting soil. Find yourself cutting. Here we go. We'll use this one. And make a hole inside your pot. Get your cutting planted in there. Just let it grow inside this pot. And once it gets to the point where it's root bound, this thing is going to leave baby plants all over the place. All you got to do, just let this guy grow in this pot. Leave it someplace in the garden where you want comfrey to grow. At a certain point when it gets pretty old and it gets rooted into the ground, just move it. It's time to move it, and within what, 2 or 3 months, you're gonna have some comfrey growing where you just move that pot from. It's really that simple. Comfrey is easy to grow in almost any climate. Consider adding comfrey to your food forest. It's gonna be a great plant to take up that lower understory shrubby layer of your food forest. You can see it growing here. It's a little shrub, and we still have a ground cover of perennial peanut growing right under this comfrey. So it's a magnificent plant to be including in any food forest, and it should be one that you include in your Hawaiian garden. Just because it's not directly edible doesn't mean that it doesn't have a use. And comfrey is a prime example of a non-edible plant that has so many uses for us as backyard gardeners, food foresters. So I hope you learned a little bit about growing comfrey today. If you like this video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be sharing more videos like this all the time. And please leave a comment below. Any engagement that happens with the channel helps us grow. So once again, thanks for being here to grow comfrey. I hope your hands are as dirty as mine. Get out there in the garden and let's grow. Aloha, everybody.